Hey there, my friends. Dr. Ray from the Fit Father Project and the Fit Mother Project. Welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to cover a vegan meal plan for muscle gains. And whether you're following a vegan and plant-based diet right now, or if you're someone who's eating animal-based foods, this video is going to be valuable for you because what I'm going to do is break down some of the best plant-based, high-protein meals that will help fuel your gains. And these meals are delicious, they're simple, they have a lot of amazing foods, and they're so rich in nutrients. And specifically, we're gonna be dialing in a completely plant-based nutrition plan here. And when you're coming to approach a vegan meal plan for muscle gains, what you need to focus on is building your nutrition around protein-rich foods. To build muscle, we need a high-protein diet paired with adequate calories. And when it comes to plant-based foods, you need to be very strategic about what you eat. And we need to build our meal plan around the high-protein plant-based foods. Things like certain kinds of nuts and seeds, fermented soy like tempeh, beans, legumes, pumpkin seeds, quinoa, different kinds of lentils. We want to incorporate these into our meals. And I think regardless of how you're actually setting up your diet right now, you're going to get a lot of value. We're going to run through breakfast, lunch, snack, and dinner. I'm going to give you some of my best plant-based recipes. We're going to throw some of them up on screen and show you things you can incorporate into your nutrition plan. I know you're going to love it. Let's get into today's video. All right, so when it comes to building muscle, I think one of the first things to think about when setting up your meal plan is setting your protein target. So for most people, what you want to be getting is around 0.75 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So for most people, this will roughly equate to 100 to 150 grams of protein. And because we're doing a vegan meal plan, this means that let's say we're eating 3 to 4 meals per day, then each meal is going to need to have around 30 to up to 50 grams of protein, which is very possible. But when it comes to plant-based foods, it's not like we have a food that's like pure protein. Oftentimes plant-based foods, they have protein mixed in with healthy fats, mixed in with carbohydrates. So we're gonna kind of need to nickel and dime our way into these protein-rich meals, and it means we just need to combine more nutrients, more ingredients, which means the meals are also very delicious when you set them up right. So let's get into breakfast first and how you can set up a high protein breakfast. When it comes to a vegan meal plan for muscle gains, there are 3 options that I absolutely love. The first one is a high protein breakfast smoothie. And regardless of what you actually do, vegan, vegetarian, or you're eating an omnivorous diet, a plant-based breakfast smoothie in the morning is a really, really great option. So the first thing you're gonna want is a high quality plant-based protein powder. So we have our Super Fuel, which is absolutely amazing. My preference, I formulated it. You get 20 grams of plant-based protein, over 40 different vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics. It's less than 2 grams of sugar, 0 artificial sweeteners. It's absolutely amazing. Regardless of what product you choose, you want to get a protein powder that's rich in plant-based proteins, meaning it's coming from a blend of different kinds of protein sources. So some are just rice, some are just pea, some are just hemp. It's best if they're blended together so you get a more complete amino acid profile. So when I'm making a plant-based smoothie, I'm throwing in 1.5 scoops of a plant-based protein powder. I use our Super Fuel, throwing about 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds. You can throw around a tablespoon or 2 of some ideally organic peanut or almond butter. You can throw in some almond milk, maybe some wild blueberries. You blend that sucker up. And if you want to increase the calories, which are important for muscle gains, you can also include some more healthy fats. You could drizzle a little olive oil in there. You could throw a little bit of some coconut oil. You can do all sorts of different kind of things, or just increase the peanut butter. Then you have a protein shake in the morning that hits around 40 to 50 grams of protein, is gonna be around 400 to 500 calories. And it's great because it doesn't really weigh you down with a lot of digestive stress. It's easy to have. So that's a great option. Another great option for breakfast is if you are someone who does like tofu, you could easily do some kind of like high protein tofu scramble and throw it on a slice of like Ezekiel bread. So my favorite kind of bread is Ezekiel bread. It's a sprouted organic bread. Each slice has 5 grams of protein. So if you were to make like a sandwich or have 2 of those slices, for example, and throw eggs on top, that's 10 grams of protein right from the Ezekiel bread. You throw another, like you're gonna get 20 grams of protein or so from the tofu scramble in there. So you're already at like 30 grams. And you're totally set. Now, if you threw a little bit of some sauteed greens on the side or something like that, or maybe some chickpeas or maybe a little hummus or something like that, you're totally getting to that around 40 grams of protein in that breakfast meal. So tofu scramble could be very good on a vegan meal plan. Another thing that's great for breakfast is overnight oats. You can make plant-based, high-protein overnight oats. And it's really cool. What you want to get is some organic rolled oats. You probably are going to have around a cup of these, which is great. It has a lot of those good complex carbohydrates, vitamins, minerals. It's also rich in protein. And then you're going to want to add in around 2 tablespoons of some hemp seeds, around 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, around a tablespoon of peanut butter. Load that thing up with some almond milk and let it sit overnight. And in the morning, you have this delicious oat mix that's rich in protein, vitamins, and minerals, and there's basically no prep involved. So if you're the person who likes kind of an oatmeal concept, overnight oats is great. You can also make oats on the stovetop in the morning if you want to do it that way. And again, spike that stuff with hemp seeds. I think is such a good idea for getting that protein number up. Those are 3 great options for breakfast. Now, because we want to make sure we're hitting that protein target and we're trying to build muscle, I recommend that you do eat lunch around 4 hours later. So it's a good idea to have breakfast because we're trying to get this protein throughout the day. Lunch, a really good option is a couple things. One, you can do a classic sandwich. So again, taking that Ezekiel bread, you can make like basically a peanut butter or almond butter sandwich. So I just buttered up 2 of these Ezekiel breads, but I would like load that sucker up because you can make a sandwich that has around 25 grams of protein just from nut butters and Ezekiel bread. And I put it on a side of some sprouts and some, I have some green beans that I had the night before that were sauteed. So you're nickeling and diming your way here to around 30 grams of protein. Very good, simple meal. You could also use some kind of tofu, or if you're the kind of person that does like to eat substitute meats in there, that's okay. I do want to say this as just a little bit of a blanket statement. I know there's a big industry right now for a lot of people wanting to do these like faux meats and different kinds like this. These are oftentimes not the healthiest choices. They often throw like canola oil, soy oil, seed oils. They're using like processed soy protein and stuff like that. And although it may taste good, it's not the best option. But I do want to talk about soy for a second because I believe soy is a very amazing, rich plant-based protein source, and there are some problems with soy. First off, me personally, I would not eat soy that's not organic. Soy is a crop that's sprayed with a lot of different pesticides. It's one of the main GMO crops. There are some problems with having non-organic soy. And me personally, I pretty much only go for fermented soy. So different than just like the extra firm spongy tofu, you want to get something like tempeh. This is what tempeh looks like. It's something that is really good. You can cut into slices. You can fry that with a little bit of coconut oil or avocado oil on a stovetop. This could be on top of a salad. You can use this on a sandwich. But fermented soy is really good because the process of fermentation actually removes a lot of these anti-nutrients in soy and makes it so it's quite good. And I think fermented soy has far fewer problems for people in terms of like hormone levels, anti-nutrients, digestive distress than having full-bodied soy, if you will, that's not fermented. But your call, experiment with that. For me, I personally wouldn't be eating anything soy besides fermented soy like tempeh, but it could be a really good option. For lunch, another good thing is you can make yourself like basically like, I call them like a Buddha bowl, which has like some chickpeas that are maybe like steamed or cooked. You can have maybe some root vegetable on there, like maybe like a tuber, like a sweet potato in there. You throw it mixed with some greens, sprinkle that with some sprouted pumpkin seeds. Maybe you have some sprouts on there. Maybe you had some beans that were cooked or from a can, and you mix all this up with some avocado and maybe some kind of nice dressing or hot sauce. You can make a really nice bowl. Has a lot of different kind of nutrients. And the cool thing about a bowl like this is with plant-based foods, you're getting protein, but you're also getting healthy fats and healthy carbohydrates all in one meal. And this Buddha bowl that we've shown you is probably gonna be around 500-600 calories, which is great. I mean, if you're trying to hit around 2,500 calories, let's say for muscle gains purposes, and you're having like a bigger dinner and you had a 500 calorie breakfast, 500 calorie lunch, you're already at 1,000 calories. So now between snack and dinner, we're probably gonna be around that range for muscle gains. And of course, it's high in protein as well. And remember, if you use a plant-based protein powder, you can always just like throw a little half scoop of that on the side and just like spike your protein target. It's really good. And because we're not just focusing on protein, we also need to get enough calories. It's always a fine idea when you're trying to build muscle to throw a side of fruit on any of these meals. So let's say you had the peanut butter sandwich for lunch. You can easily throw like an organic apple on the side, give you another 100 calories, good fiber, good vitamins, and very beneficial for your overall health. So eat more fruit, especially if you're trying to build some muscle on a plant-based diet. Now, it's oftentimes a good idea between lunch and dinner to throw some kind of snack in there because again, more calories to fuel muscle gains. It could be a really good pre-workout too. If you work out later in the day and you want to have a little bit of something in your stomach but not be overloaded, there are some great plant-based protein bars that are phenomenal. So this one from Garden of Life is really great, 100% plant-based. It's actually vegan as well. They blend up the different protein sources. It's organic. You might find these Go Macro bars or Lara bars. Some of these can be good. Personally, I probably wouldn't eat a bar that has more than like 10 grams of sugar in total. And some of that sugar is gonna be natural because they throw like dates in there and other kinds of fruits to like give the bar some texture. But if it has like a lot of just like, you see on the ingredient list and it says like cane sugar, certain kinds of corn syrups, you wanna dodge that and get something that's a little more natural. And I think some of these bars are a really great option. Another great option for muscle building is to get some kind of nuts. right? This is macadamia nuts, or you can get some pistachios, and you can have a full like half cup of this. Again, great protein source. And if you get the right kinds of nuts, and I think the healthiest ones are macadamias, walnuts, pistachios, you can have quite a bit of these, and they're gonna give you healthy fats to fuel your workouts, to keep your blood sugar levels stable. And there's a lot of calories in a little bit of food. So if you're struggling to eat enough food and you're feeling full all the time, because plant-based foods make you full because a lot of the fiber content, then nuts are a great way to kind of spike your calories up and spike your protein without like adding too much digestive stress. So I'm a big fan of that. And I like to pair nuts on the side of some kind of fruit, whether it's some kind of organic berries here, an apple, a pear, kiwis, oranges. You can make a nice combination of fruit and nuts. It's a really good snack. Now, when we get to dinner, there's a couple different things you can do. I mean, there's plant-based cookbooks out there that have literally hundreds of high protein recipes that are phenomenal. I'll just give you a couple of the basics that me and my family do. One is you can do a high protein chili. So you can throw a bunch of different kinds of beans in there, black beans, red beans, like whatever. And a lot of people are afraid of beans because they've heard about this idea of lectins, these anti-nutrients that can be inflammatory, hurt your gut lining, and bind up certain kinds of things. And it's true, beans do have lectins in them in different varieties based on the kind of bean. There's a couple ways you can remedy this that makes them totally safe and good to go and makes them a staple of your muscle building meal plan. One is to actually soak your beans for at least 5-6 hours, if not overnight. And this is a good idea. Just like throw your beans in some water and allow them to sit there overnight, and then throw out the water in the morning. This removes some of the lectins. And then if you get a pressure cooker, like an Instapot, which is what my family uses, it's great because you throw the beans in there and the combination of the pressure and the heat deactivates basically all these lectins. So having a high protein chili is a phenomenal idea. It's so good to get a variety of beans in there. And again, this is one of the recipes we have here that's super good. This is kind of like my family high protein plant-based chili recipe. It's very good. Now, when it comes to dinner as well, something you want to absolutely incorporate on a plant-based nutrition plan is some quinoa. So quinoa is great because I think it's technically a seed, but you can kind of use it like a grain or a rice, but it's one of the highest protein grains and rices. So if you like use this as a base and you're having it on the side of some kind of chili, or you're having tempeh maybe with some quinoa, it's such a good food because it helps you hit your protein target, it's good in carbohydrates, and it's really delicious. You can throw a bunch of sauces on it as well. So I like to make my quinoa in a rice cooker. So having a pressure cooker and a rice cooker is a really good idea to make it super convenient. You can throw some vegetable stock in there and just cook that quinoa on like the brown rice setting, and it turns out really good. And now you have a bunch of that stuff that you can incorporate in your meals. And then another thing I think is great for dinner that's high protein is getting into some of the Indian cuisines and getting some lentils and some dal. So maybe it's like a vegan split pea soup, or maybe you get some specific kind of lentils and you mix it in with a lot of these Indian spices and you make a dal, which is like a lentil high protein mash that you can throw on the side of some quinoa. Absolutely delicious, loaded with great plant-based protein. Definitely something I recommend you check into for a great dinner. And of course, there's all the different things you can do with tofu and tempeh and stuff like that. But again, I highly urge you to do more of the fermented soy like the tempeh. And you could throw that again. You could like put the tempeh, you can marinate that in soy sauce or barbecue sauce, throw that in with some quinoa, and you have a really great tasty meal. And I also want to say, don't forget about the vegetables when you're on a muscle building meal plan, plant-based. And I think you're like, duh, Dr. A, obviously. But I'm specifically referring to the dark green leafy vegetables. So I have some rainbow chard here. And one thing you really want to do when you're trying to build muscle on a plant-based plan is making sure you're getting enough iron in your diet. So there's two different kinds of iron. There's heme iron that's found in like muscle meats and organ meats and stuff like that. But on a plant-based diet, you're going to be getting the non-heme sources of iron. And those are largely found in dark green leafies as well as the beans. And iron's super important for helping blood cell production, which is massively important when we're exercising and training hard. So you want to make sure you're getting some of this. So what I recommend you do is start buying some chard, Swiss chard, rainbow chard, and saute that. So you throw it in a pan with some olive oil or avocado oil, chop it up. You can put a little garlic, squeeze a little bit of lemon in there. There's some vitamin C in that. It helps activate some of the iron and it helps your body absorb it. So great idea to throw some of these dark green leafies on the side. Really good thing for dinner or a salad for lunch. And another consideration too, just for good overall health as you're trying to build muscle on a vegan meal plan, is to get a good probiotic source. So this is some kimchi, which is basically like fermented cabbage with some spices. This is something I recommend you have for good GI function. Maybe you have that with dinner or with lunch. Just have like a couple tablespoons or a nice serving of that. It's going to really help your digestive tract. And it's really key because a lot of people find when they're doing a plant-based meal plan the not the right way, they're not preparing their beans properly, they're not eating the right kinds of foods, they can feel bloated and gassy. When the GI tract is off, you just don't feel good, and then you get off the vegan meal plan and it's not working for you. So sustainability when it comes to a plant-based meal plan is all about gut health, and I think the probiotics are a really good source. And then other things, I think just to make the plan enjoyable, it's good to incorporate some dark chocolate. Like if you're gonna have carbohydrates, which you obviously are in a plant-based meal plan, or some chocolate, have that after training. It's fine to have your insulin spike a little bit after training. That's like part of the goal, is to like get cortisol down, insulin stimulates some of that muscle building. So having a square of chocolate after you train or even after dinner can be a really nice thing that makes the meal plan feel good. Other things I like, just because I'm trying to get calories up when I'm on a vegan meal plan for muscle building purposes, is I'll get some coconut ice cream bars as well, some of the low sugar ones, just because they taste great. And like if you get a low sugar coconut ice cream bar, it's just a nice treat. You get an extra 100, 200 calories. You're getting some of those good MCTs, fats from the coconut. So it's a beneficial thing. So overall, the take-home message is you can absolutely build muscle on a vegan meal plan. You just gotta have it kind of dialed in. You gotta build around these good plant-based foods, nuts, seeds. I 100% recommend you get a high quality protein powder. And if you don't have one that you love and you wanna have one that's absolutely tested and pure and absolutely amazing, then check out our plant-based super fuel. Really good. It's the protein powder that I use basically every single day. Best tasting plant-based protein powder that I've had. You know, I'm a little biased because I made it, but I recommend you check that out and try that. And that's basically it. If you enjoyed this and you want more stuff like this, we do have a couple other plant-based videos and different stuff all across our Fit Father and Fit Mother YouTube channels. And whether or not, again, you're following this exclusively vegan diet right now, you can incorporate this stuff into your routine. You can move away from maybe doing always animal-based foods, and you can start incorporating maybe like the vegan vegetarian chilies, the dals, plant-based protein shakes. I think you're gonna find they're delicious and help you feel really good. This is Dr. Anthony Balduzzi signing off. Thanks for being here, my friend. I'll see you around future videos, and I'll talk to you very soon.